Scientists are inviting for study on the impacts of microplastics on whales, sharks and radiation. How tension diminutive meal, love planktonic, out of sea water. They say the sea giants person considerable risks of microplastics. Estimates propose several whales may be ingesting hundreds of patchy of plasticity a date. The Bay of Mexico, the Mediterranean Ocean, the Bay of Bengal and the Coralline Delta are priorities for tracking. On to a overview of teaching. Researchers of the US, Australia and Italy looked at information on threats to big filtering feeders of microplastics. These little plasticity trimming less than rather than 5 mm length can be detrimental to the sea and aqueous lifetime. Pollution of microplastics has the capacity to future bring the people sizes of the big filtering feeders, they tell. Still, down there is really slight study creature transferred out in the risks. Same complete significance of risks of ingesting microplastics are yet to be completely studied, told Elitsi Germanov of Murdoch College, Australia, an investigator at the USC Megafauna basis. Probable risks involve diminished dietary understanding and harm to the alimentary framework while microplastics are ingested, she told. In supplement, poison exposition via plasticity eating could influence lot biologic processes, such as increase and playback, setting filtering feed populations by though more than tension, she added. The research, published in the magazine Trends in Ecological and Evolutionary, argues how big filtering feeders, lot of that are charisma and economically essential kind, should be prioritized for future study in risks of microplastics. Filtering feeders martin hundreds of cube meters of water supply a day to seize their meal of water supply, and may get in microplastics for the trial. Microplastics are such in amount and massive to lot types of planktonic. Teaching includes shown chemical substances related in plastic in the bodies of rorqual sharks and fin whales. Hours teaching on rorqual sharks in the Sea of Cortez and on fin whales in the Mediterranean Sea affirmed exposition to toxicity chemical substances, indication how these filtering feeders are take up microplastics in their feed perspectives, told company researcher Professor Maria Fossi of the College of Siena in Italy. Exposition to these plasticity-associated impurities present a main risk to the public health of these animals, with it can change the hormones that govern the flesh's increase and growth, metabolic, and reproduction functions, amongst some things. Rorqual sharks feed in the Sea of Cortez off Mexico's Baja Peninsula, that is an essential cultivation land, are alleged to swallow by 200 trimming of plasticity per date. Fin whales in the Mediterranean Sea are mined to be popping nearer to 2,000 microplastic suspended particles per date. The researchers say down there include been accountable of 800 kg of plasticity found in the skeleton of a twisted rorqual in France and else in Australia, concluded 6 box meters of plasticity protective coating as so as 30 entire plasticity transporter mined. The paper key points few key coast regions for study and tracking during the aerial ranges of the animals, consisting the Coralline Delta, the Bay of Mexico, the Mediterranean Ocean, the Bay of Bengal and some areas how include top microplastic focus levels, such as the planet's 5 ocean gyres. Rorqual sharks and some flagman kind may act as a focus spot for study, particularly in countries how trust on living nature travel, say the researchers. It is cost allocation how using these portrait kind, such as rorqual sharks, manta radiation and whales to profit the focus of and attract in communities, politics makers and link will go far to increase leadership of whole sea ecosystems, told Ms. Germanov, who is a PhD undergraduate at Murdoch College. A quantity of filtering feeding sharks, radiation and whales are on the end of death. Lot are length-lived and offer childbirth to few descendants for their lives. The rorqual dogfish, for example, is listed as sensitive on the IUCN Red listing. Found in tropic and hot moderate water, it is the greatest minnow in the planet, yet feeds on diminutive planktonic, crustaceans and little minnow.